Hi there, welcome to Hey Sound Guy, the podcast where I'll be peeking behind the curtains of the wonderful world of music. Each week I'll be speaking to engineers, musicians, or other industry professionals, and we'll have a little chat with them and share some fun stories from the road. Now, my next guest is a very interesting gentleman. He plays in a band called the Grand Union Connection, and he is also the head of the AV department at the Design Museum. A lot of fun stories to come out of that. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend, Brian Reeves.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a nice holiday time for you now, so
yeah.
it's fantastic.
It's nice just to get away from the grind and hang out.
I bet. Yeah, you said you didn't take any holiday, so you can take a bit of longer holiday for the Christmas, which is
but it's
great.
nice. I like taking it at the end of the year. Really works for me because it's the darker time of the year, and we're heading towards the winter solstice. You know, the days are really short, and being on that train, it's a real blocker.
Depressing. It's depressing.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
You don't ever drive in, do you?
No, I don't.
No.
Sometimes I think if I'm taking the kids in at the museum, there's really nowhere to park. But it's less hassle on the train. I find.
Fair enough.
You can just chill out.
That's it. Yeah. Listen to an audiobook or a podcast or something.
Or read.
Yeah.
Read. I tend to read. I always assumed that when people are on their phones these days that they're doing social media, but I think more people read.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that a lot. People are on the Kindle or whichever app they use to read their books.
Yeah.
And I did find I can talk about it now because I've had a result yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Since I got off the bike and had to take public transport again, I found that I was doing a lot more reading and stuff like that, which I kind of didn't get to do as much whilst riding. When I was riding, I've got speakers in the helmet, so I do listen to podcasts or something like that, but I wouldn't really consume a book because I got to concentrate on the road.
Yeah.
I don't want to. It's okay to have something in there, but not something that you need to concentrate on. So I did find that I was doing a lot more reading.
I was doing the same.
I was back on the train.
I used to go to the museum, take my scooter, just like a little Vespa scooter thing.
Yeah, nice.
But I'd always listen to music. But it was interesting because the music makes my eyes switch off. I don't know if that happens with you. So sometimes I get a bit I wouldn't be able to always recall or remember the whole of the journey on the bike. But that's also the same with journeys. If I'm listening to music going into the museum, it goes so much quicker.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you get a suspension of reality.
That's it, man. It's a little escape.
Yeah.
Just a little switch off.
Yeah, because the pace of whatever you're listening to or whatever feelings you're getting from listening to a song don't always match with what's going on around you. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It just takes you away for a little bit and make everything okay again.
yeah, very true. Because obviously, even taking the 2 weeks off, what I like to do when I get the time off is I'm trying to finish a song at the moment, and just getting the time is the hard thing. Switching on and off is always difficult.
Yeah.
And switching from one mode to the next.
Yeah, from daddy mode to guitarist mode.
Yeah. I try to blend them both. Just sometimes you kind of feel like you got separate personalities in your life that you snap into one role or into the other. Or I used to do this at work. When I stopped being a session musician full time, I needed to get some money together to buy a place to live. You know? So I jumped onto the wheel. And running around the wheel, I kind of always assumed, very much like being on stage, there was a performance or there was an act, and you check in yourself at the door when you go into work.
Yeah, because you have to be professional, and sometimes you have to, set your personal ideals or whatever aside to get the job done and to focus on what the client wants.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because you adopt the values of what your client or the people who are paying you, your paymasters, and you adopt their values because I suppose you assimilate yourself with them because then you get on better. Life's a lot simpler.
100%.
You don't rub up against them. You don't have a different opinion, and if they're paying for your time, you kind of have to go with that.
That's
whether you
exactly
think it's right or wrong, I imagine you get the same. When you're doing sound engineering work or you're doing work, you might not necessarily do it that way yourself, but then you kind of have to check yourself in. But one of the things I enjoy doing is learning how to blend blend them all, try and blend them. Well, when I was working at EMI, a great guy, he's a buddy now, but he started off as my boss, a guy called Mike Merlise. So he ran the whole team, and he didn't check himself in. That was the thing. He was just him. There was seamless Mike, whether it was inside work or outside work, and he carried his values and his ethics with him. And he taught me a lot. EMI was good like that because people were very much. There was a big social club, you know, and most days would finish in the pub. Believe it or not, you know, and I didn't have to wait for a Christmas party to everybody to get together and have a drink. It was quite regular. But it's interesting. You learn to adopt and or sort of blend both. You know, those sides, you know, which is a bit weird. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, kind of picking things up and putting them down and starting again is sometimes difficult. But in terms of if you can carry yourself across it all, you know, I find I can try and get a better vibe. But,
get a better equilibrium.
Yeah. But there's times when your kid's asking you a question and you just want to be that kind of hedonistic musician yourself, and do that. But you can't. You kind of feel that you have to give them the
adult answer.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, you're like, well, when I was your age.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, man, I tell you what, Savannah, before we go further, so Brian's daughter goes to school with my daughter and we know each other in this way, and we also kind of run in the same circle, but not in the same circle in terms of occupation. Brian is currently working at the Design Museum.
Yep.
And he was head of installing was it the Kubrick exhibition?
So my job at the Design Museum is I head up the property and the technology team. So all the technicians work for me. So their job is to work out how to put on the story, however that fits or however that's built up. So that can be either through 2D, which is standard artwork, or there's 3D stuff, which can be an installation of an object, anything from a car to an earpiece that can translate all languages. So it's how you present that. So I've been doing this. I've been working in the museum for about 3 years now. It's very different. My previous jobs where I'd worked at a student brand accommodation place, and I worked at EMI Records, and also worked at a company called Deluxe, which Tains and I actually.
Yes.
There's our
where
professional
the
paths
a little bit.
have crossed a bit. Before I talk about that, we'll talk about the museum. But interestingly, more than the traditional style of installing or the way shows are built at the museum, AV is playing a bigger part than ever before. And it's quite exciting because we're trialing new things. It's more experiential. So because going to a museum originally was all about you go to see something you've never seen before. If you wanted to see an ancient Egyptian tablet, or if you want to see something from China, then it was only the privileged few that could afford to see it. The reason why they could afford to see it is because they could afford to travel. So travel was for the few and not for the many. Information such as libraries were for the few and not the many. In fact, there was quite a famous library in Osterley, just down the road from here. But now with the internet and travel being so cheap, you know, and I know there's sort of negative sides to it. Obviously, Tim Berners-Lee has spoken about that, and Greta Thunberg has spoken out about, you know, air travel and this type of thing. It's kind of provided more knowledge to people. So, you know, the reason why people go to museums now is different. It's changed, and that change has accelerated since I've been at the museum. When I first joined, the opening show that we did in 2016 had one element of AV. And this was it was about the design of how you interact with the internet. So it's the echo chamber theory and how it reflects back to you what you're telling it. To recently, we now have full AV. So on the Moving to Mars show, we have we're using 12K projectors. Wow. You know, using 7.1 sound systems. Fantastic. You know, and using high-end. Music files. So the files it's not an MP3 that just doesn't cut it anymore.
No, it doesn't. People will be able to tell.
And the frequencies, and it's about the experience and how you feel it. We're marrying that with all the other senses. So you got the sight. Obviously, most museums you can't touch, but some things you can and interact with. But it's also the sound. When I joined, I think it was in 2017, about a year later, we were doing an exhibition called California. The idea behind the show was in the 80s, the stamp of quality would be made in Italy. oh,
That's
it's
right.
made in Italy.
Yep,
Silk,
yep,
leather,
yep.
beautiful. But that very quickly changed. So now what people respect is designed in California. That's the ticket. So if you're making an electronic device or software, if it's designed in California, that's the whole idea. So we were doing that show. And quite often they put together a project team and sort of you're pitching ideas. And one of the ideas pitched in was about having soundtracks and having the oral experience as well as just...
You a bit more of an immersive experience.
Correct, yeah, because you can go in, you can read it, but that only appeals to a limited few people. You know, the language in which I think you speak when you're trying to explain design to people, which can be tricky at times, is enabled by sound and vision. But it's still very emerging, you know, it's not perfected, and it's quite exciting at the moment to see people going through that, you know, and working with different companies how to accomplish this.
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah, I can imagine it's quite a fun job, but
yeah.
I suppose quite stressful at times as well.
It's the deadline, and that's the hard. If you give yourself a deadline, you got to work to it. You have to work to it.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
the museum itself, it isn't funded by the government. It gets to choose its own agenda, which it does.
That's fantastic.
But that means we're dependent on shows being open. Now, if the show's not on, you can't sell tickets. You can't generate money. So it's got to be there. So everything you deliver, very much like probably you do. You know, when you're doing sound engineering, if you can't put the show on, you can't sell the tickets.
That's true.
And you can't make the money, so it doesn't happen. You know, that's unfortunately money is the enabler, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
And so it's important to make sure that what you deliver, what you put in works. It works all the time. Yeah, it's reliable. You know, it's easy enough to fix. Which is the AV's not quite so easy because we'll talk about this in a second.
There's so many different elements. Yeah,
there are. So you've got to make sure that what you provide is simple, straightforward, and effective. Really, that's the key thing. And so a great example is you think about screens and. To make it immersive, you really have to cover more than the sort of just one
field of
elevation.
vision.
Yeah, you've got to get both. So it's knitting things like that together. And how do you do that with large screens without, you know, burning the electricity, without having the weight to deal with and this type of thing? And
those LED walls, they burn through electricity.
Oh my God, they do.
Insane.
And they always come with bezels. We did it at a company I worked for, a student accommodation place, and we built this video wall. So it was 8 meters wide by 5 meters tall. And this thing was, it was unbelievable. It took something like 6 weeks to put together and debug. So to build the frame, it had this really ridiculously strong frame. So you have to think about health and safety when you do it.
Of course, yeah.
And this frame was just insane, and just slotting it all together. I mean, we were right at the edge of what was possible with the different screens. The smallest bezel, that type of thing.
Yes, yeah.
Linking it up, making sure that the audio and the visual worked together. There wasn't a delay or a lag and this kind of thing. So that sort of thing isn't really possible. You can't do that at the museum because those panels it's just too big. It takes too long to install. So we use 12K projectors, which I didn't know existed until about 8 months ago.
Well, I didn't know they existed until just now.
Yeah. These things are incredible. And but what you need to do is, because if you're looking at doing something and trying to make people suspend their reality for a second, you've got to eliminate any projector shake at all. It's got to be so sharp. So when things are on you're standing 6 foot away from a 4.5 meter screen. You know, pixels don't really cut it, you know, but projections can. So we have to always look at building these structures to sit them on, so you get no shake or wobble whatsoever. You know,
because lots of rubber feet.
Yeah. Well, normally they're suspended. We suspend them. Yeah.
That would be better.
Yeah. Well, actually, when we were at Deluxe, when I was at Deluxe, I went over to Canada, and they had this. I think it was the first time I heard the 32 speaker system, and. They had these incredible barcode projectors, the best you can get, and just incredible suspension and the cages that sat around them. So when I was at Deluxe, one of my jobs was to help Deluxe move from Denham over to where it is Paravel.
Yes.
So they move their mastering suites and get those moved across. And working with those and just getting the images stable. I mean, it's absolutely incredible the amount of technique. So this is the work around the actual delivering it.
Yeah.
And that's so to do that a lot at the museum. And it's interesting doing that sort of thing, and also working with music makes a real difference.
No, it is. I mean, I'm glad that you're getting into this, because the whole point of this podcast is, you know, so those who aren't in our business
Yeah.
get to peek behind the real workings of what actually goes on into delivering a show.
Yeah.
Right? Because people go and see a gig and they're like, fantastic or not so good, but they don't understand all the wheels that have turned to make this one thing go, you know. So, you know, if we get into, you know, what actually makes a show happen, what goes into the work that goes into the installation of an exhibition, you know, all these things, you know, from anything really that's technical and fun, you know. So yeah, it's good to hear about these things.
We work with this great company called Blue Elephant. So Will Kemp, it's his company. Those guys, I think the difference with them is their appetite for it to explore is the thing that makes the real difference. And I find this with all key people that I've worked with, either through property or in my music career. Working with people who've got passion, it gives you that sort of energy, really to explore. You know, you don't mind pressing on and off on the reverb 50 times, trying to decide what it, because you love it. You know, it's is it Suzuki that talked about the fun of learning and how a child has no social ambitions or no social hang-ups, so failing isn't a problem. So like they learn more. Children learn more in a short period of time between the age of when you're born and when you're 4, and you can talk, you can walk, you can feed yourself, dress yourself. Right.
Yeah, learn three or four languages, whatever they need to do. Yeah.
And it's compressed, and the amount that you learn in comparison in ratio to when you're an adult. So if you imagine between the ages of, how much did you really learn between the ages of 32 and 36? Well, I mean, pretty much cool, to be honest.
Yeah. Just to make things run a little bit smoother.
That's it.
Just shaving off the edges here and there to make that thing turn a little bit quicker.
Yeah, fine corrections. Yeah. But then, you know, that age of 0 to 4, it's incredible. And I think what it is it's the ability to remember to learn to play and not be embarrassed by mistakes. You know, and that's the key thing. Obviously, there's a time when it's showtime, right? You can't mess with anything. You've got to set on. You know it's going to work, and you just deliver that. But being able to kind of experiment and do slightly different things, you know, I think is really important. Yeah. You know, and sometimes, just going back to what I was saying earlier, sometimes it's hard to maintain that. You know, you get sort of time off of your grown-up job. You've got to be the responsible when delivering. To as a songwriter, you just want to go and play. Yeah. You know, switching it off, and it is difficult. You know, and getting that time to suspend your own reality. You know?
Yeah, and also, I suppose, learning how to deal with the frustration of not being able to go and play, but having to do your grown-up thing for a bit, and sometimes having to sort of just put to the side the things that you want to do for a second, and then you're like, okay, well, now it's daddy time, or now it's work time, and I didn't get to play my guitar today, but I'll get to it tomorrow, and then I'll enjoy doubly as much. I suppose just hold on to the excitement.
Yeah, and just
hold on to the idea.
Remembering to play, because it's easy, isn't it, to just go in and just do the expected bit in the middle, and then just not do the play bit either side, and retaining that. It was somebody at Google who they did, or was it Facebook? They wrote a programming or did something, and then they did it in their spare time just because they still enjoyed it, and it became a main feature of how that sort of website works, or was it how the Google search engine works?
But didn't he get in a lot of trouble for this? The Google guy.
Yeah.
It was to do with how the different sexes search. Is this the one that you're talking about?
Like,
right. Yeah. I know about that. And I mean, it's not that he was wrong. He wasn't saying anything bad. No. But unfortunately, this woke culture just ate him up.
Yeah. I think it's finding people who can allow you to do the bit. You know, you do the bit that earns the fee earners, and the sort of that delivers what the client wants, but just that extra bit of play could make it special. You know, and I think that's the difference. I think people just need to. If you can play a bit more and experiment a bit more, then that's where happy accidents happen.
100%.
You know,
100%.
And I think it's sometimes, and the reason why I'm saying this is it's easy enough to sort of, you turn up, you do your gig, and then you go, do your gig and go. But you know, when you get into it, you know, and you dream of doing more or achieving more, or you know, the reason why you get into the things that you love, so getting into sound engineering or being a musician and doing all the technical stuff, is because you love it and it's that excitement. and that's what kind of fuels you to a position. But don't let the fuel run out.
Yeah, no, you have to keep stoking the fire.
Yeah,
little bits of chipwood that you just put in there.
Yeah,
little things here and there, like not letting it get stagnant. I mean, I kind of fell into the trap. When I was a lot younger, I was practicing my guitar like religiously every day for a couple of hours, and I would. If I didn't have 2 hours to practice my guitar, I wouldn't practice at all because it wouldn't be enough time to get through my program. And I screwed myself there a little bit. And I'd only, as you get older, you kind of realize that maybe that 15 minutes a day is better than no minutes a day.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And so, now I'm definitely getting back into... But, I do a lot of different things apart from sound engineering. I make chocolate and I make biltong and I bake cakes and I do all these sorts of things. I like to do different sort of things to kind of round out the whole me. As kind of comes back to what you were saying before, where you had this friend who was just himself in and out of work.
Yeah.
And if you can find the equilibrium of who you are, to then be able to maintain that throughout everything, and have rounded off all those edges so that you can just be that guy, and that's good. That's kind of the aim and the goal. And
if you can't, then you're probably in somebody else's job. That's
true.
And
true.
it's just taking it with you, because I think bringing your personality to bear on anything you do and understanding and delivering it, that extra passion really makes a difference. Working with lots of different people on different projects, and I've done countless different projects, from designing and installing karaoke rooms, all the way through to working with a team and installing some of the best equipped mastering rooms for film that there are, basically,
like
in Europe.
The ones in deluxe.
Incredible.
Wow.
The focus on cutting edge, high end detail there was exceptional. Even through to, and even though we're dealing a lot with the sound, and the primary focus was about the sound and overdubbing and doing the dubbing and the versioning. Versioning, folks, is when you change it language to language, and what they have to do is, because when the voiceover is done somewhere else, the guys in deluxe, what they'll do in the versioning, they'll have to change it so it sits in with the film, so it doesn't sound like it's recorded in Italy in an echoey room.
Yeah, and you got to match also the words with the mouth.
Yeah.
So there's some manipulation
Correct,
going along there of stretching some words out and making some words shorter.
Yeah.
Changing the delivery of it.
Overdubs are, compared to what they were 20 years ago, it's like sci-fi now.
Fantastic.
It's incredible.
Really well done. Yeah.
So, so working on all different projects, audio-visual type projects and stuff at the museum, working with people who are passionate makes a challenging job so much easier, and the results are always better with less heartache. And if somebody says, if you can achieve all of that but with less stress, then would you say yes? And of course you would.
Of course you would.
You put your money down. You're buying that ticket. Of course you would. So that's why it's important just to keep yourself, because otherwise you can lose who you are and the fun bit of you. So don't leave half of you at the door.
Yeah.
Take
100%.
it in with you. Yeah, and don't ever apologise for ambition. And sometimes I think if I'm working with the curators at work, or if I'm working with a project, I'll always try and put something slightly different, or try and stretch how we're delivering something just a little bit, just to explore and keep it fun. Because you could just leave it at 70%.
Yeah. And it'll get the job done, but are you going to be happy? Are you going to sleep well at night?
Well, I don't
Probably
dream
not.
at 70%. I don't have 70% of a dream.
No.
I dream.
Well, sometimes you do if you get woken up rudely in the middle of the night, but that's a different story.
Children, I love them. Oh, jeez. They're an inspiration. I haven't worked out what kind of inspiration yet.
Man.
So,
yeah.
But
no, it's a good thing. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. It's, I don't think anybody should aim for 70%. If you do, then maybe you haven't found what it is that you want to do.
No, absolutely.
One second. Come in. Or not.
No.
Right, we were nearly interrupted there.
Visited.
Yeah, the visitors from outside the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. And as you said, if you can assemble the correct team who are as ambitious and enthusiastic as yourself,
Yeah.
that lessens all the weight off your shoulders, because everybody's gonna want to do the best job that they can do.
Yeah.
Right? They're passionate about it. They're gonna take on, you know, not necessarily more than they have to, but they're going to take on what they need to take on, and you'll be like, well, this section right here, that's sorting itself out. I don't need to check up on these guys because they're working towards something, and we've got the same goal in mind. That department's good. Oh, look, this department's good. Oh, look, this department. I'm going to go get a coffee.
Yeah. Because I think, but everybody needs that time off. You know, I think the important thing is there's things you can teach and things you can't teach.
True.
And mindset and appetite, you can't teach that. So, you know, if you have that kind of appetite, then find people that match you.
Yes.
You know, and get into that project and find it, you know, rather than don't turn your wick down or turn your lamp down just so you can, you know, play in a different stream. You know, the important thing is just play your tune. You know, burn as bright as you want to burn. You know, and then you find people who are like you, and then you're together, and that collection makes a difference. You know, and and that's it. I suppose making a difference and really pushing to deliver the best. I mean, you can talk about delivering the best for visitors to the museum, or somebody listening to your song, or you know, that kind of thing, or doing it for your bandmates, whatever your inspiration is. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So be inspired, and as I said, if you're not, you're doing somebody else's job. So go
100%. Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, if you if we can come back to the 70%, you know, the punters, they're not going to know that that's 70%, but you are.
Yeah.
Right. The show is still going to work, and it's still going to do its thing, and it's still going to turn some heads, and everybody's going to be like, "Wow, this is incredible." But you're just going to walk around there like, "This could have been better. Could have been better." Yeah. And that's going to cause a lot of rolling around in bed at night. Because I find that for me, if I come off a job and I'm like, I could have done that better, it's going to haunt me. You know, it's really going to... And, you know, that could be whatever factors are involved. Doesn't really matter what it was, but, you know, don't make excuses.
But no, well, but there's reasons for it. There's certain times in your life when you have to sort of maybe say, right, look, kids on the scene, they're young, you know, to get things right for when your family are a bit older and a bit more grown, to enable you to go back to it fully, you put your time in there. And once your time is in there and they're committed and they're good, stable people, then you're free to go back to it. I think if you half it, you know, and you half sort of grow them in the right way, then you'll never really get back to it, because there'll be troubles.
It's gonna be gnawing on the back of your mind.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's my whole sort of point about doing different things as well, apart from, you know, as a sound engineer, I've kind of like carved myself out a little hole, and I'm good and I'm happy there, and I'm, you know, I don't have aspirations to go and tour the world and do this, because I've got other things that I'm happy doing. And there was this samurai who I can't remember the name for the life of me. He wrote a book, and it's about, you know, if you want to be accomplished in what you do, make sure that you're accomplished in all other things.
Yeah.
So you've got the whole complete you to then draw on, and that's going to be inspiration for your art, and that's going to be inspiration for this, and this thing, you're going to take a piece of that and put it here to do this thing better. And it's just, if you know, and like you said, you can put something off for a bit. It doesn't mean that you're canceling it from your life, but you're like, right, this thing is kind of like the embers are glowing and everything's fine, and it's going to be in the back here, but right now I got to concentrate on doing this thing. And once I'm done and I'm happy with this thing, I'm going to then take all of this and then push it back into this thing, and it's just going to ignite again into this freaking bonfire that's going to be seen from Mars.
Exactly, because things transpose. Everything transposes.
100%.
You know, you don't you necessarily know where it's going to come from, or how that's going to transpose across, or into a song, or into a piece of work, or you never know when you're going to, from a technical perspective, hear a song and you think, oh shit, actually, I really like what those guys did. And then you carry that into your next job, you know, or your signature, you know, every time you put your finger on record, you know, you leave it like a little sort of a memo of your journey. And it's never going to be the end of the journey, because you always kind of pick up new things or learn new experiences and different things. Like the technology sitting around us here now, you know, 20 years ago, forget it.
Impossible.
Yeah, it was going to be impossible.
Especially on the budget that I did
God.
it with. You know, it's incredible.
You need to be King Solomon to be able to do this years ago, you know,
man.
and have his kind of fortune.
Yeah.
So, so it's things like this, and these are the kind of things that you contribute to, sort of, you know, the whole big picture. So yeah, in my mind, it's just remembering to learn to play. The grown-ups don't always like it, you know, and that's the same. I think, you know, in the creative industries that we're involved in, and I've been involved in since I was a teenager, it's never, for some unknown reason, it's never seen as a sort of a grown-up industry, you know.
It's not. It's
Peter
definitely not.
Pan-esque, but you know, I mean, it contributes and some, I would say, you know, to everything, just as much as, you know, well, more than the gun ever did. I tell you that damn straight. You know, to civilization more than anything else. You know, and this is kind of like everybody plays their part and leaves their sort of their thumbprint, their fingerprint, their signature, you know, on this as it kind of develops. Because you never know, somebody might pick up a recording or something that you worked on 6 years ago. They might pick up on it in like 20 years, and that'll inspire them to do something that will be, or change the game, you know, or push the needle even higher. You know, so everything is valid in a way, you know, 100%. Even if the stuff that you think, you know, I'm not digging that, but that's valid, you know, because everything has to have a reflection, right? And that's the balance, you know. So, but yeah, keeping that moving, I think that makes a difference. I mean, I've been very lucky, you know, in that, you know, dropped out of school, dreams of being a rock and roll star, you know. I mean, that only works out for a handful of people.
That it does.
But, you know, I found myself in an industry where I can carry the creativity with me. You know, I've worked for some great companies.
You've got a balance of everything. You know, because you still play. I want to get into the music a little bit. You still play quite regularly.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a band, and do you do loads of original stuff?
Yeah, we do. So I changed my job recently, and I stopped being a pretend grown up, and switched back to being myself. And that gave me the time to reignite the band. We're called Grand Union Connection, folks. That's a plug.
We'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, that'd be great. We do most of our own stuff. It's myself and a guy called Mike. We first started playing, I was 18 and he was 19. He came down from Newcastle. He moved out. He came out of Newcastle working on a Danish shipping trawler. So the quickest way for him to get out of there was he got a job working as a chef on the trawler, just, you know, making food for these guys. This boat worked 24 hours a day. You know, he got like 4 hours a day sleep. You know, got himself some money together and came down to London. We met. I was working in a kitchen down in Brentford, and then he came just doing a temporary gig there, just working there. You know, just 2 weeks, and we got chatting. You know, he liked blues and that kind of music, and that's the thing I always chased ever since somebody handed me an Elmore James tape, you know, back in the day, and I heard Sky is Crying. That was it for me. I was sold. You know, I wanted to be 65. I wanted to be American. I wanted to be black.
I want to have smoked 60 cigarettes a day to get that voice.
And the only thing I'm not
Jack from the morning.
I can only be one of those, and that's 65.
That's right. So working up to it.
I'm heading there. That's the one for me. And so we met then. We were very young and thrusty. You know, we did a lot of heavy rock music.
Great.
Yeah, played with a guy called Billy Davis. He was 15. He wasn't old enough to play in the bars that, you know, we were playing in, you know, but he was a phenomenal drummer. He went on to play with some very big names, people like George Michael and a lot of these pop stars and Boyzone and stuff of thing. And he went on to be quite a successful session drummer. Hates the lifeblood that he used to breathe as a 15-year-old, you know, because he does it day in and out. You know, it's now his job. Mm-hmm. But we went our own ways. We came back from a tour did the show in Putney, and there was an argument about money, and then we went our separate ways.
Okay.
Kind of went that way, and I went off into, what did I do? I went and played for an indie band, a band called Portobello. We released some singles, did some festivals, that sort of thing. You know, it was good fun.
Nice.
Enjoyed playing with those guys. Incredible songwriter, a guy called Rob Minter. He was exceptional, really.
Okay.
Very beautiful guy, incredible soul. His songwriting was great. Anyway, yeah, so we played around and we got back together, Mike, through Facebook, actually, for all the sort of the negative parts of Facebook. Here's a positive story.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I think that it is a very valid tool. You know, if it's used correctly.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm probably gonna, the amount of time you have, if you convert that into points, say, you've got a 16-hour day. Let's just say you get 8 hours sleep a night, right? Which is not, but let's just work on a 16-8 split. And if you convert the time that you have there into points, and the more points you spend on negative stuff, the less points you have for the positive things.
Yeah.
So if you use these things correctly, I was very vehemently, I got off all social media for a long, like 2 years, because I just got fed up with it. But as you said, there are so many positive things about it. I started back on my Facebook again, started Instagram to promote this thing. But I'm definitely taking that whole thing on board of just skipping over the negative things, man. Just go past them. I don't need to interact with it. I don't need to... Let's just stick with positive things. Lots of love, lots of hugs, lots of just good vibes.
Oh yeah,
and so
all the lugs. Because this summer we went to recording studio Tile House just out in Denham to do our live demo. And I agree. We worked with a producer on that gig, and it's great to have somebody who's distant from the music and just say, look, folks, that's just they need a bit of a break. It needs some air, and they help inject a bit of air. But there's different ways of injecting air, and the end result was great, but it kind of felt there was a bit of sort of the way we went about it collectively was there was a lot of harm and a bit of negativity involved.
Okay.
So, we had to kind of move past that. But things with Grand Union Connection are going well. We are it's mainly myself and Mike, as I was saying. We got back together again through Facebook. He contacted my brother, and we got together just to see if it still worked. And
there has to be a chemistry there.
Within the first 20 minutes, we wrote an open E slide tune called Captain's Store,
Nice.
Which we just looked at each other like, it's still there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's still there.
Is it just me? Because I still love you, bro.
Yeah, it's great, man. And we have it's just an outright honesty. Like, there's no BS. Right?
Right.
I mean, if that song sucks, it sucks.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's
yeah.
well, we're going to play it because it's your song. Because as soon as you allow that crap...
Well, you're not 18 anymore, are you?
No.
So,
No.
yeah.
No. I mean, we spend a lot of time trying to accommodate each other, making sure we're happy, because, it's so close to you. It's, you really over care about it. And
If it's your baby, for sure, you do.
Oh,
you can
absolutely.
get that way.
And we got back together again, and we did an album in my flat. So basically, I had a 2-bed flat over in Isleworth. And those who know Isleworth, in between the planes coming over, you can do takes.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
we got 5 minutes.
You have to choose times a day. I mean, if you get the morning flights, you have to wait until the afternoon and record, or you get 1 minute and that's it. If you listen to them closely, you can hear that sort of high pitched whine. But we recorded the first album, which we released, which did okay. We just did that basically all in the box. 2 mics on the drum kit, that was it. So I really wanted to go old school. Yeah. And I thought about, so what did the guys do? Lomax, they went into a hotel, they got the local singer-songwriters in and just went straight down to the master, and it was all burnt there. Back in the day, the early studios, there's all the recordings that I really love, myself and Mike really love. And are the ones where I have a couple of microphones. This is kind of pre-4-track days, right? Yeah. Until Les Paul invented the 4-track, what did people do? They'd kind of just a couple of microphones or one microphone. You're really loud,
one microphone in the middle, and everybody sings around it, sort of thing.
You're the drums, you go all the way there. You're the singer, you come close. You're the horn section, you move over there. You kind of, and so we were doing it that way, and it was just using the dynamics because I didn't want to overcomplicate it. Because we always found working with myself and Mike, when we go in the studio and you've got too many options, then we tended to betray the song, and the song just didn't do its thing and didn't live and do its own thing.
Yeah,
so I really just wanted to be able to just, is it distorting? No. Are we good to go? Yeah. Go.
Right.
And just try and focus on the take. And I think it's important if you just focus on what the take is all about.
It's about the music, really.
Yeah.
Everything else you can do afterwards.
Yeah. And we shared that. When we play live now, unbelievably busy. We'll play at least twice a week now.
Wow.
We're playing absolutely everywhere and anywhere. We'll play for food. We'll play for beer. Or we'll even play for money if there's any going.
Yeah, sure. If anybody's got any spare.
Yeah. Anything. Yeah. Time, money, food. I mean, we'll play for any of those three things, and the idea is that we just getting back to doing our thing. We're all in our late 40s. We're not going to be rock and roll stars. Getting smashed and sleeping with page street girls, rolling around in limos. It's not about that. We've kind of entered that sort of more kind of tweed and wool era. It's not leather and steel anymore.
That's right. I gotcha.
But these songs are valid because these are the ones that inspired us when we were younger, and also still inspire me now. The kind of 50s, 60s, kind of going Chess records. I'm more your kind of Chess records than I am Motown. I'm more into the stuff that came out of the Delta and into Chicago in the mid 50s and early 50s, and some of that stuff, because you can get swing, it can be aggressive. Those early tracks were very politically driven. Blues was like kind of like his own version of punk in a day.
100%. I mean, if you look at the birth of the blues, it was it was the songs sung by the slaves in the plantations.
Oh yeah, and it
started as a call and response. I remember I did an assessment on the blues when I was doing my degree, and just all the history behind it is so fascinating.
Oh, God,
it was outlawed for so long. It was it's insane.
But it's anti-establishment, isn't it?
100%.
And so that sentiment can be throughout. You don't have to have a stack of amps to do it. In fact, I mean, it's all the other way around now. People have got boutique amps. It's all about quality now, which is great. Thank the Lord. But so we and this is what we've done live. Is the important thing for us was we've gone right the way back to basics. So we wrote a bunch of songs a couple of years ago, and we said, right, we're going to go out and play. So let's get a band. No, let's not get a band, just you and me. So I'll play acoustic, do backing vocals, and he'll sing, and sometimes he'll play guitar or whatever. And so just to get it out and just fill the space. Right, so then the space is filled. So we know we're filling it with vocals or with guitar. And then we felt we really wanted something to drive it. So then it was easier for us to introduce a drummer. So we tried a drummer. He came in with a drum kit. No,
thank you.
No, thank you. Don't want drums. Bring a cajon. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That kind of works because it respected space and respected the air and the space.
Especially if you're going to go with an acoustic guitar, 100%.
Yeah, totally. Because you don't always have to play a note, right? I mean, you could.
Yeah, just do a nice little scratch.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's kind of about that rhythm. I mean, you have to improve your right hand. If there's any inspiring guitarists out there,
artist.
Yeah. It's your right hand. Forget this. This left hand doesn't.
I mean, when I was also read a lot of books when I was doing a lot of guitar practicing, and I mean, I'm left-handed, but I play right-handed, so I had to work on my right hand a lot more. And I read this thing once where just imagine your right hand is the artist and the left hand is the follower or the slave.
Yeah.
Right. You decide what to do with this hand here, and that's gonna bang out your rhythm. It's gonna bang out whatever, whether you want to go triplets or duplets or play four or whatever you want to do.
Play soft.
All that, exactly.
Yeah.
Because this hand just kind of follows along.
Yeah, because those amps, and if you can set up your gear so that it all responds to how you play. So if you attack hard, you get a bit of distortion. If you play soft, you get those sweet Hendrixy soft. When Hendrix played clean, just beautiful. I loved it when he kind of stomped on a distortion pedal and just drove the gain as much as possible, and that the feedback was incredible. But you kind of get those sweet notes. So for us, it was about just adding and building things in, and how it works. So
get your bass line good, and then you can start adding and subtracting from it.
Any song, and I've known quite a few songwriters in my time. Some people who are very talented, haven't made a career, some people who are very talented made a career, and some people who, weren't
aren't talented and made a career. Yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend's ex-wife. Anyway, I won't talk about her. One number one single doesn't make you a superstar.
No, it does not.
No, exactly.
Absolutely not.
And
I think that's a big problem nowadays. People. I speak a lot to sort of like young musicians and stuff, and when I was teaching as well at BIM, you get to speak to these aspirational musicians, and nobody talks about albums anymore. It's singles and it's EPs.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, and there's also no kind of plan of longevity. It's like I want to get to this bit, and then okay, but what are you going to do in 30 years? What are you going to where? Have you got any kind of long-term goal? No, I just want to, just a single, just want to drop a single. Oh, okay, all right. How about make an album, right? And then choose singles from there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way it used to go, and then sometimes an album would have 6 out of 12 good songs on it.
Yeah.
And you build on that, and those 6 can be your singles, and the other ones can be, and then by album 3 or 4, as Zepp did, it's just world class.
Oh my god, yeah.
But unfortunately, we don't have time anymore for that. Nowadays people have got the goldfish mentality, and it's just like, it's a problem. I'm a firm believer in albums. In fact, the way I kind of decide whether a band's one of my favorites or not is whether I like every song that they do.
Yeah.
Whether I can sit and listen to a whole album of their material, and if I'm like, I like everything here. Yes.
The angels.
Yes, they've...
the little pixies. I agree. Because in fact, I just recently have taken a very similar approach. I have stopped using Spotify as my go-to when I'm at home. I invested in getting a CD player, and I've started listening to an album. Sit down and listen to an album because it's a moment in time. I mean, besides the fact that the sound quality is much better, there's so much more air.
Yeah, MP3s, I can hardly stand them anymore.
It's so compressed. It's just always bouncing off the limiter. So that's the thing. I mean, so going back to it for me, it's the artistry, laying things down, getting to what we were saying earlier. I was saying earlier about everything you do, you leave your fingerprint. And it's left there, whether it's picked up now, because if you're going to do it anyway. Don't keep it to yourself. Let people hear it and express yourself and deliver whatever it is you want to deliver. Yeah. Whatever it is you go about, whether it's clay model making, or it's painting, or it's writing music, or being a sound engineer or a video editor, whatever it is, there's that element in all of it, and the technical element we can all enjoy. So it's important. And follow your own path,
the integrity.
Yeah.
If I feel as well, if you're going to go and do something for the wrong reasons, you're not going to put your whole self in there.
Correct.
If you say, I'm going to do this because it's going to get me that, then this whole journey, you might get where you want to go, but the whole journey is going to suck.
Oh yeah.
Right. For me, you can have an idea of where you want to go and where you want to get to. Fine, but if you don't enjoy fully what you're doing and put your whole self into it, then life's not really about the destination. It's more about the journey.
Yeah, how long does the destination last?
Yeah.
I made
for a moment.
Woohoo.
Yeah,
but then the journey takes a lot longer. And as I said about, you keep yourself through it all, so you always keep that flavour of you in it, like you were just saying. You keep your whole self in it, because then you deliver you, and that's the thing that's personal to you. I was talking to a guy who I can't remember his name, Chris, I think. He ran a famous club in London called the WAG Club. Through the 80s, and he's gone on to he had a music career, and he's a DJ and this sort of thing, and we had a fantastic conversation about intent and this sort of thing and subculture, and he said, well, the best thing you've got is you. Just you.
That's it.
And that's it. And so you can't leave you at the door. So that kind of brings us kind of full circle on that, which is why with Grand Union Connection, we're doing that, and it's working with Mike. I can be 100% me. I don't. If you're punk and you're angry, well, if you're no longer angry, can you still be a punk? I don't know, ? Or do you then move on to do something else? It's
you can be a progressive punk.
Yeah, you could. I mean, when I was with this group called Chaser, and we toured abroad, and we did that sort of thing. I mean, we were so thrusty.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know. But now we're a bit older. You know, I like to hear that. I like to hear Mike's voice, and I like to give him air. You know, and now, you know, I don't need to step on super overdrive and stick on a wah and a delay. It's, you know, that's why I like just hearing the construct of a song.
You're serving the song rather than yourself and your ego,
and that's more important.
100%.
Yeah, and that's kind of me having a more mature mindset towards all of it, you know. And
well, you're working your way towards being 65, right?
Well, that's it. As soon as I get there, and if I can get my voice sorted out by the time I get there, I'm good. So, but folks, if you get the chance, whichever camera we're on, go and check us out. We're not bad. We don't suck, you know.
No, I've heard really good things. Unfortunately, I haven't had the chance to come and see you.
We're worth a 10-minute listen.
Yeah, 10 minutes only. Man, 10 minutes per song.
We'll convert you.
10-minute songs. That'll be the best. Now, I want to really quickly just touch on when you did the live demo. You said where you worked with a producer. And he gave you good guidance.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've kind of been going on about for a little while, because I find a lot of the younger people, they start off with I'm a producer, you know, when they've built a tune on Ableton, and you're like, okay, you produced something.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of times you just produce headache, but you know, you definitely can't sell yourself as a producer, because in my mind, in my understanding of it, a producer is the guys, they've been in the business so long. They know exactly what is going to work and what isn't going to work, how to take your already good song and make it great, and make it, you know, stand out. And like you said, how about just having 4 bars of nothing, or just the scratches you do, you know, give that air, move verse 2 in front of the chorus, have verse 1 and 2, and then you have a bridge and then a chorus, instead of doing verse, bridge, chorus, you know, this isn't a Nirvana song. This is something that's got a bit more depth. And then what you can do is you can repeat verse 1 at the end and just bring it full circle.
Yeah,
that's really going to make it, you know, because I like the lyrics here or this, and they can have that impartial impartiality with that fixed, that trained ear, and the producer mind,
and the distance. What they've got from it is the distance. They're not emotionally tied to it like you are as the writer or the artist.
Of course,
you know, there is
the friend of the writer who then is the producer, but then they're so involved. It's a
you don't want those complex relationships because you need to be able to let everything flow. So as a songwriter, you need to let it flow. As the musician performing it, you need to really be able to be in the moment. Now, if you're writing it in the flow, then you're not distant from it. You're the conduit for that coming out, that creative process. If you're the musician playing it and performing it, you're in the moment, so you're in the immediacy. 100%. You can't be distant. You can't see it and hear it with those kind of ears.
No,
it's impossible. You know, the best producer I think I've worked with, and I've worked with quite a few different ones, but there's a guy called Phil Brown, absolutely brilliant. You know, he had that very strict producer way about him, but he wasn't an asshole, and that really made a difference, because you know, you could kind of I was happy to follow him, you know. And when I was playing with this one band, he would kind of stand there, and every time I got it wrong, you know, he'd get a stick and whack me on the arm.
Brilliant.
But I tell you what, I learnt a lot. You know, that offbeat, it's like brilliant by the time I finished. Brilliant. You know, I've worked with producers who have said, "Oh, just go and do your thing," and when we're finished, I'm like, I don't get that either. But then I worked with a producer who was just so negative. Like, we just couldn't. We were submerged. You know, that was the problem. We were so submerged in it. You know, and he had a particular view. But unless you're Jimmy Page, and I know he's worked with producers, but there is nobody on earth that I can think of. Maybe Les Paul, but only a handful is what I'm trying to say. That bands, songwriters work without a producer. You know, you just need to think about all the different producers' roles, you know. And we take one of the greatest producers.
Yeah, and don't kid yourself and think that, you know, you're all that, because you might be all that, but you know, you might need some direction. And it's good to have just that. And it doesn't even need to be a producer. It can be an impartial person.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they're great translators. That's what I think. They're a great translator of what's going on in the artist's head, to translate it to the listening audience. And they have a particular gift, you know. And the most famous one, and the most talked about one, I think. I mean, let's not do Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones, but let's talk about somebody like George Martin and the Beatles, you know. And he didn't actively, he wasn't on the steering wheel, but he was handing them different maps to look at.
I was just going to say, he had the map, and he's like, there's a shortcut here.
Yeah, because he knew he the way he played his role was perfect, you know. And undoubtedly there were differences, and there were probably times when he was just like, guys, you're not playing today. We're not going to record today. That's a joke. You know?
Yeah.
So
hold on a second. Let the acid wear off.
Yeah. Get that wear off, and then go and get some sleep, and we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll work on it. You know. And those guys kind of they cut their teeth in the dirt and playing in Europe. You know, and then they came back, and then they did the TV shows and did the celebrity
Reeperbahn. Where's it?
And then George Martin then pulled them in and said, look, you know, take this this classical record away and go and have a listen to some of this, or go and have a listen to this composer, or listen to this jazz player. And they'll bring in these other influences and add it in, you know, and it's that passion.
And where would they have been without him?
Nowhere.
Exactly.
I mean, full stop. You know, they may have got a deal, and they may have insisted on being self-produced, but it would have just gone, and if it wasn't translated, and if they can't translate it properly to the listening audience, and that's why I think producers are great. They can simplify everything for non-technical people, because technical people like us, or creative people, like, we can dig it. Right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have your critical success. So technical people or creative people love it. Oh, yeah, no, I really like that. That's great. But then you know, your lay person in the street be like, oh,
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Where's the bass? You know, and so that's the technique. So if you can carry,
they're like the bridge, if you will.
They are. They're sort of translator. And if you can translate something that you think sounds like it was written 60 years ago, you know, in the middle of America, you know, down in the South, and they can translate it so it's relevant to somebody in 2019, you know, then that's their job, and they can do it well, you know. But then there's a point in which you've got, it's personalities, and they have to bring the right thing, and they have to have the same passion for you.
That's right. It's the same as finding a band member.
Oh, yeah.
They are essentially a part of the band.
Oh, of course.
And non-musician, you know, a lot of them do actually play instruments as well. They have musical backgrounds. The greatest ones do, I think, in my opinion, you know, because they'll be able to say, try this, try that, do this here, you know, maybe take this into a minor, maybe do this there, you know. They'll bring ideas, and then obviously, you know, you can incorporate them or not.
Yeah, because
essentially it's your decision. But to have the direction of a great producer, I think, it's you know, it's maybe overlooked.
It shouldn't be overlooking it at your peril. I think the thing is just.
Can you close the door, please?
The last thing on the producer thing is, I think, don't get somebody who wants to get you a Tower of Power, you know, super tight Quincy Jones jazz type feel, you know, if you're going to play folky blues. Because, you know, if you're looking for loose tight, or instead of tight, then you just got to get the right person, because,
that's right.
You know, you kind of put in this opposite direction. Some people might say, oh, well, that really works. That kind of heat works. Yeah, look, it works if you've got a year in the studio and you can scrap half the tracks you've written. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, but if you've got Metallica's budget.
Yeah. We went out and we played untold gigs this year, you know, and we were playing everywhere and anywhere. Anybody would give us some money, you know, from a beer festival, a food festival, and a regatta to markets, just to get the money together to get into Tile House. You know, and it's not cheap, okay? It's not the most expensive in the world, but we wanted to go to 2-inch tape, because the difference, folks, is just incredible.
It's phenomenal.
You know? Yeah. I'd love to be able to explain it, but technically I don't really understand. It's the way it behaves, and, you know, it hits the tape. It just gives you that warmth, and it's not compressed. You have unlimited headroom. You can get all of that feel to it. Anyway, so we wanted to go there because we wanted to hit the 2-inch tape. You know, when you get in and you've got limited budget, you just need to get it down as quickly as you can. So find the right people, you know.
Be well rehearsed.
Oh, yeah. Very well rehearsed. Rehearsals aren't for getting drunk or stoned or whatever. They're for rehearsing. Do that the day before you go in the studio. And then when you're in the rehearsal room, play as if you're going to play on the day. You know?
You play the way you practice.
Yeah.
That's one thing that that comes from my rugby playing days. My dad was my coach in school for a long time, and he was himself quite a good rugby player, and he could have gone a bit further, but rubbed the wrong people up the right way, or the right people up the wrong way. But yeah, one of his things was always, don't fuck about.
Yeah.
During practice time, because that is going to be 100% what you're going to put in the game.
Don't be 70%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, of course you do. And but yeah, the producer role is very important. I think we all know that. But also, everybody plays their part. Everybody's got their bit. Just as long as they're passionate and you believe in the same thing, or you're heading in the right direction.
Well, I just wanted to just sort of because everybody that I've spoken to so far are of the same opinion as I am. It's you can't just go in when you've created a track on Ableton and say, I'm a producer. No, you're not.
No.
Maybe you want to be a producer. Maybe you want to... But the problem is as well, they produce music.
Yeah.
So that's where the lines are a little bit blurred.
But that's not a producer. If you look in the dictionary, it says a producer is the person
You're
who
a
chooses
creator.
a studio, buys the tapes, hires in the musicians, gets the sound
Exactly.
engineer in it.
Yeah.
But they don't do that now. That's not their part. You have
Not anymore,
artist
yeah.
management to do that. But that's the producer's role.
Yeah.
They say, right, here's an artist, here's 5 songs, go and produce that. Go and produce a record, and they would choose the right studio and the mics, and they would be part of all of that. They don't do that so much anymore. So getting your computer and doing an Ableton Live thing and just doing a mix doesn't make you a producer.
No, you're a creator.
Yeah, you're a creator. You're creating a track, and then the producer, someone like Dre or those people who come along, will make it sound amazing. It's incredible what they can do, and they're worth $1 million, but they get paid $1 million. So they're worth it.
Exactly, 100%. Right. Well, I think we should probably. You've got somewhere to get to, so we should probably cut
I've got
this
some
short.
Christmas duties. Well, Terence,
But
thanks.
I really want to do this again, because
we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do. And it feels like this was way too short, but we will definitely do another one. And
I'd love
do a
to. I'd love to. And as you said earlier, it's not about a single. And we could talk about this. There's a lot to talk about.
A lot.
If you do it and you commit yourself to being a musician, it's a lifetime.
It's a lifetime commitment.
Yeah, of course.
100%.
Yeah, and we can't get. I'm sorry, folks, we can't get that into an hour. But maybe part 2. You tune in and we can pick up from there.
Yeah, lovely. Well, we'll put links to the to your band and all the stuff that you're happy to share. We'll put all that in the description, and they can get in touch with you and go and see the gigs and everything.
Lovely. Yeah, that'd
I
be great.
really appreciate your time today, and I had a lot of fun, and we will do this again for sure, because I feel like we've run out of time, and we're only we've only just started.
Oh yeah.
But we'll do this one day when we can sit down and do 3 hours or whatever.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it'll be a special edition.
Lovely.
Thank you again.
Thank you,
See
sir.
you. Bye. Right, well, there we have it. I hope you've all enjoyed that as much as I have. And I will have Brian back on again soon to finish that conversation. I will be posting links in the description to his band and to his social media. I'll also post my social media, and you can get in contact with me or get in contact with Brian as you wish. I have started a Patreon page. If you want to donate there and help out, it's patreon.com/HeySoundGuy, and you can help me there. As always, please like, share, subscribe, get the word out there. Until next time. Bye.